Howdy Hey, I'm John Wade, and I'll soon be joined by my partner in crime of the day, Justice Davis, a well-established percussionist here at Troy University. And we'll be discussing the contemporary music world, although probably not something you're very familiar with. We'll be talking about the dynamics of where symphonies stand today, things like percussion ensembles, chamber music, where this stands in today's music world with everything else, how maybe social media and things such as YouTube might could bring this back into a generation and such. So let's go and bring Justice on up here.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for coming. Now, what you hear in the background is this is John Cage's third construction, and this was he was a real big innovator in the contemporary music world and a real true artist in the way he composed and very innovative. This was written in 35 or so.
It's 1940.
Yeah.
In that area.
It's one of the first pieces for percussion ensemble, and you can hear a lot of different sounds. There's pianos, there's a lot of found instruments. He was big on music is just organized sound was his definition. And so he would use anything from amplified cactus to radios, really just anything that he could organize and make music with. So as around the 30s, this generation changed from where we had, symphonies and sort of organized things to more abstract. And around the time is like jazz started up and things, and kind of brought a pop culture music world to be had. But with you being in ensemble today, you come from this, and people still play these pieces, and or music in general. The other side, rather than what we hear on the radio, what we kind of maybe hear in certain movies, the other side of it, where do you see that in today's society? Do you think there's any way that come back to a prominence like it was, say, in the early 20th century?
I don't really know, because the kind of music that we play is more geared toward people that really understand music and that can really know what is going on, like in the percussion ensemble piece, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's lots of important things musically going on in percussion ensemble pieces that you really have to know what's going on in order to understand it. And a lot of stuff that appeals to the crowd that is percussion ensemble related is kind of, chordy. It's like 1-4-5-1, big, stuff like that. And it's kind of poppy, I guess. And the more intricate pieces, I guess, they really don't appeal.
So it's a type of music that you have to sort of have a knowledge of and actually engage yourself to be able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And in a culture where so much you don't have to think about, you don't have to, you talk to your phone, it does stuff for you, you go on the internet, everything's already there. How do we get back to being more artistic and in the music that we listen to and becoming deeper with ourselves as a society?
I mean, we have to go back to putting music back into schools and making it more important for kids to learn. Because I feel like back in the day, I guess, 1700s, 1800s, everyone, they learned music. They, at a young age, played piano, took lessons and stuff like that, and everyone understood, like, what music was. And music really isn't a priority anymore, I guess, in school. We have organizations trying to save music in school. So, I mean, we just have to make music more not a number one.
And you touch on something.
Important.
Yeah, you touch on something that's there's a lot of different senators and different school boards have brought up. Actually, are you familiar with the documentary they did in Florida? I think it's called "Marching On" or something to that effect.
I don't think that.
Well, it's a documentary about Lakeview, Florida, the marching band program there. They had cameras follow around the students' band program for a whole marching season, and I believe even in the concert side a little bit. And if they get enough fundraising to complete the documentary, they're going to send a copy to every single member of the House of Representatives and Congress and everything. And so I think you're definitely right. It comes down to we have to make art more important, because when you look back at history, I think it definitely shows art influenced society and vice versa. And today, I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I don't know if that's quite as true anymore. I don't know if we're
I think so.
influenced by art. You know?
More of, I guess, music now. It's still art, but it's art in a different way, just not what it used to be. But it does have influence, like rap music. You know, that'll influence, you know, kids a lot. Like a lot of pop music songs, it'll influence kids, but sometimes it's in the wrong way. Like the lyrics, it drives them to do, I think, bad things. I guess if they're bad.
Yeah, I've heard
But
5-year-olds in Walmart singing the latest Beyonce song, and I just
yeah,
I don't know if that's the right thing that needs to be happening.
yeah,
Um, well, given the sort of virility to that music when it comes to internet and things, you know, why is it that if you go, like I know specifically with Troy University, if you were to go on YouTube right now, I believe you would see 2 or 3 pieces. There's Willow, that was they performed in 2010, I believe,
yeah.
and maybe a couple others. They're going to play the PASIC, which
Mhm.
PASIC, for those of you that don't know, or PAS is Percussive Art Society. Every year they have PASIC, which is Percussive Art Society International Convention, and ensembles, percussion ensembles at university level, or can it be? Well, they have a separate category.
It's a separate category.
Okay, so well, colleges are their own, universities are their own category. And Troy University in 2012, they only select 3, and you can only apply every 3 years if you're selected. And Troy University was selected, and they actually finished tied for first, I believe it was, with South Carolina, and they got to go and play. And it's pretty much like the national championship. So this is a very well established ensemble, as are many others. FSU is another one, Florida State, Texas Christian University. But yet, when you go to look on YouTube, you don't really see a whole lot. And now, in the case of us, you may be able to know, like, why do you think this is as a whole? That there's just, you know, there's not much virility to this music and not a big push from it. You know, people seem to be more passionate, that do this music are more passionate about this than, say, pop artists are about their music. And yet, they aren't pushing it the same way. And, like, why do you feel that is, that it's just not as prevalent?
It's probably because it's not really advertised on like YouTube and stuff. There's not many videos of Troy's percussion ensemble on YouTube, and it just doesn't really, like you said, appeal to the crowd. I guess the viewers on YouTube, they don't really want to look at percussion ensemble and stuff like that.
Do you feel that length may be an issue, given that, like for instance, on the radio, you to have a single, they like it to be somewhere between a certain time spot
Yeah.
and a peak here and all that, very formulaic. Do you think that it's partially because these songs are anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, and some of them have seemingly no formula if you don't know what
Yeah.
you're looking at? But do you think that's maybe part of it?
Maybe. I mean, the attention span for humans is going down, you know, down and down and down. And sometimes, you know, pieces will get boring if they're not repetitive, I guess. And that repetitive part is not attracting, I guess. But yeah, that can do a big thing. If it's really, really long and, I guess, boring, then
Yeah, like the
it won't be
what's the name of the piece
appealing.
that has a you put water in a conch shell. This is one of John Cage pieces. Put water in a conch shell and a contact mic, and just listen to the water or the sand drain through the conch, and
Yeah.
it takes however long it takes, and that's the piece. But I think there is some artistic value there, though. You talk about attention spans being cut. Okay, I guess the question I'm trying to ask is, how do you think that quote unquote classical music, as it seems to be roped into, and more specifically like percussion music and chamber music, could be radio ready? Like, could you ever see a way to get that on radio? Would it just take one man just doing it, or here's a way to do it?
I think it could become a thing again, maybe, because Soul Percussion, they came here 2 years ago, I think. They have their own radio station on Pandora, so, I mean, it is coming back. And there are stations on Pandora for, like, you know, classical music and stuff like that, but for it to be, like, on actual radio, you just have to keep trying and pushing.
So I wasn't
just
really
have
aware of
to-
that.
Yeah, yeah,
No.
they have their own station, and it really depends on the area, I think. If you can put that type of music in, like, a musical city, I guess, like New
Mhm.
York, I think it'd be more appealing in like Nashville, maybe, not really, but you just have to find the right spot and the right time to put percussion ensemble music on the radio. And
But thanks for coming on the show today. And this has been the first ever episode of Howdy Hey, I'm John Lee. That had no consistency, but whatever.